from Beverly Hospital, and actually Beverly Hospital, Danvers, and Gloucester. And he's a graduate of New York University School of Medicine. And his post-grad training was at St. Vincent's Hospital in Staten Island, and I'm glad he's not there right now. He's also been at the Jewish Institute for Geriatrics. He's board certified in internal medicine and board certified in geriatric medicine, so he's the perfect speaker for this topic. So, without further ado, Dr. Ennis.
Thank you for coming. You doing good?
Very well.
Got your maple leaf, huh? I like the giggly type. I like the giggly type. Can't always be so serious, right? My wife always says, "You're so serious. Why don't you laugh more?" I like the giggly type. So I was telling everybody that I also do a talk on memory forgetfulness problems. For you, sir, it's the senior moment. Nothing more, nothing less. Wet your whistle there. You're doing a good job. But yeah, so that one, a lot of people like that one. Shingles, if I remember correctly, please, I wanted to just spend a minute at the house before I came. Ran home from the office, had to walk the dog. I was showing everybody my dog on my cell phone. I have a picture of her, Bella, little pug kind of dog. But I did look up shingles in the medical dictionary at one time, and if my memory gets me right, it's something to do with a Latin derivation that has to do with like a shingle on your house. That's why it's called shingles. It's funny. There's like the shingle on the roof of your house or the siding of your house. The thing is, I wish someday I have to get pictures of people with shingles here. But there's a lot of privacy issues, and people have to agree to have photographs shown to other people of their parts of their body and such. But the shingles rash, for which we're going to talk about today, comes out along a certain nerve that runs down your skin. So when that nerve's inflamed and affected and the rash comes out, and there was a man that told me he had a little patch on his back after doing some canoeing or something, that's the shingles. So it has something to do with that. It has something to do with a Latin derivation, the root of the word shingles, like you would put a shingle on your house. So, also, this time of the year we talk about the flu shot and all kinds of shots. What's the newest shot that's recommended for adults? Kind of new this year. In addition to some of these other things we've already talked about. So for people your age, we're talking about the pneumonia vaccine, at least beginning at age 65, right? If you haven't had it when you were 65 by your family doctor, you want to get the pneumonia vaccine, also known as the pneumovax. You want to get the flu shot every year, and it does have the H1N1 in it. That's that one that had that epidemic a year or two ago, the swine flu. You want to get the shingles vaccine. And now the whooping cough vaccine's back. Who got their whooping cough vaccine? Supposed to get that one. So what they've done is the tetanus diphtheria booster that you're supposed to get every 10 years. Or if you get a bad cut, if you go to the emergency room, you have a bad cut or something, they give you the tetanus booster. Now they put the whooping cough in that. So now it's tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis for the whooping cough, TDP. So we gave a whole bunch of them out today. A lot of people got their whooping cough 1. So that's the ones for folks your age. What's the idea behind vaccines? Drives me crazy, these folks that say, I'm allergic to the vaccine, I don't want to get the flu, I'm never going to get the flu shot. Very, very, very bad thought process. And I told the man the other week, well, if you don't want the vaccine, I'll take the vaccine. Even if I got mine already, I want another one. I want as many vaccines as I can get. I'll take one every day. Because the idea is they boost your immune system. Why would you not want that? It's a beautiful thing to be able to boost your immune system to prevent a disease, a contagious disease. Why would you not want to get that? Beautiful thing that's available. So as you can see, most vaccinations induce active immunity by promoting the development of the antibodies. Got to keep going back. Keep going back. Yep, that's it. Leave it right there. Okay. And so let me just go over quickly. There's 2 forms of immunity that the body has. The one we just talked about, the antibodies. And then there's another form of immunity that the body has, and it's called cell-mediated immunity. So there's 2 arms to the immune system. There's the antibody arm, and there's the cells that are there to gobble up the germs. And there's a form of those cells. They're all white blood cells. When you get a blood count, they're white blood cells or pus cells. That's what pus cells are. They come to the site of infection, you got to cut, and they're gobbling up the germs. That's the pus cells or the white blood cells. And there's a form of white blood cells called natural killer cells. These are such beautiful things that God made. These natural killer cells. They're right there. If something gets into your body, they're going to go zoom right at them and gobble them up. But these vaccines that we're talking about today, they work on the other system, boosting the antibodies. All right? So you're ready to go. Now, let's say you're out in the woods and there was a raccoon out there. Or some people, the raccoon comes in your backyard and tries to get in the garbage cans. Let's say the raccoon had rabies, or a coyote out there, right? Let's say the animal bit somebody in your family. You rush them to the emergency room. They're going to give the person the rabies vaccine, but if the animal is known to be rabid or have rabies, like it was acting a little unkindly, they would give you the antibody intravenously right there in the emergency room. So that's called passive immunity, passive. That means you're not going to have time to boost up your antibodies. You got to take care of it right now. You just got bit by the raccoon. So they got to pump the antibodies in your vein through the intravenous immediately. Plus they give you the shot. So that holds you for the next time. Okay, so that's how these vaccines work. Let's do the next one now. Yep, so this was what I was talking about before. The vast majority of vaccinations are very safe. Very, very safe. Now, let's say you get the flu shot. Unless you cannot eat a fried egg or scrambled eggs, you're not allergic to eggs. I have people that tell me they're allergic to eggs. And I ask them, what did you have for breakfast? Oh, I had a fried egg sandwich. How can you be allergic to eggs and you just had a fried egg sandwich? Come on. That's crazy. It's absurd. Some people get these crazy things in their mind. And they're cutting themselves short, because if you make an excuse to not get a vaccine, you're really compromising yourself, because you're not going to have these beautiful antibodies around to fight these infections. Now, if you give a vaccine like the flu shot, the shingles vaccine we're talking about today, the pneumonia vaccine, there's going to be some redness and soreness in your arm where the nurse is going to give it. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to get that soreness and redness in the arm. You know why? Because that means your immune system is working. It's being boosted right there. That's a sign that it's working. Okay? So that's a good thing. You just take some Tylenol or some Advil just for 1 or 2 days. If it's that sore, leave it alone. That's a good thing because the shot is in your arm and your antibodies and everything are rushing there to get gobbling it up and boosting. That means it's working when that happens. Don't be afraid of that, okay? So this whole slide really is pushed by our nice lady here that's hosting the program, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, right? Part of the government agency for Health and Human Services. They want to encourage people to get these vaccines. They don't want to discourage people. That's the whole idea behind this. We want people, don't make an excuse, a reason why you're not going to get it. Get the vaccine. Rare to have any allergies to any of these things, like the flu shot. The only thing really is the eggs, and that's crazy. If you bake a cake, you got to put some eggs to make the cake, right? Do you have a piece of cake lately? Did you have a piece of pie? They're all baking products are made with eggs. How could you say that you're allergic to eggs? It's ridiculous. Let's do the next one. All right. Now, herpes zoster. Shingles. See? Herpes is supposed to be a dirty word. Ooh, she has herpes, or he has herpes. Look at that. This is a herpes virus. Herpes is a class of viruses, and there's multiple ones, right? And the one we're talking about today for shingles is the herpes zoster virus, which is also known as the chickenpox virus. And the name for the chickenpox virus is varicella. So, in childhood, when we get the chickenpox, but adults can get chickenpox too, and we'll show you how that can occur, the kid has varicella. The mother brings the kid to the pediatrician, takes the kid's shirt off, boom, telling the mother, your kid's got chickenpox, varicella. So the whole name of the virus is varicella-zoster. So it covers the pediatric form and the adult form, the zoster. Varicella-zoster virus. It's a form of a herpes virus. Okay, now, the thing is when you're a kid, or your own kids, or very, very rare for kids to get this anymore because of the vaccinations, right? But for folks that have had the chickenpox, the virus lives in your body for the rest of your life. That's the thing about the shingles that we're going to find out about. That if you were a child, or your children or your grandchildren had the chickenpox, the virus stays in the body the rest of your entire life. You can never get rid of it. You can never shake it off. So what happens is it lives deep along the spinal cord, the nerves that come out of the spinal cord. It hides in there for the whole life. And when you get older or something happens when you're an adult, those viruses start to come out, and they come out along those nerves that come off the spinal cord, and it'll travel right down your arm, or it'll travel down the spinal cord and come out over here, or on your face. So that's what shingles is all about. That virus, that chickenpox virus is in your body forever after you had the chickenpox itself. All right? Let's do the next one. So, the only people that can get the shingles or this rash after you've already had the chickenpox rash are those that already had the chickenpox. So if you never had the chickenpox, you can never have the shingles until you get the chickenpox for the first time. Okay? And then children today that are immunized by their pediatrician and don't get the chickenpox, they can get the chickenpox as adults if their antibodies that we talked about earlier aren't boosted up enough to ward it off. Everybody got that? Sort of like the cold sore, right? That's a herpes. That's a type of herpes. Remember I said there's multiple different types of herpes? So the old-fashioned cold sore on the lip, that is a herpes virus, cousin to this one. Where did that cold sore come from? You've had that virus that came out on the lip for many, many decades, years. So just that it's been found that people, as they age, as you age, your immune system tends to wane or dampen. It's not as high-fueled, high-powered anymore as you get older. It kind of slows down, kind of poops out a little bit, your immune system, as you get older. So it's just simply saying as you reach middle life, you're more apt to get it. However, my wife, in her 40s, just 2 years ago, in her young 40s, got the shingles, and my 22-year-old son had the shingles. Not a bad case, just a little patch, but you don't have to be senior citizens to get the shingles. But you see, they're adults. They're not children. My 22-year-old's an adult. My wife, 43, whatever, when she had it, she's an adult. So shingles is for adults. Now, how about medicines that knock down your immune system? Who are the people that take those? Cancer people. People with cancer to get that chemo, right? How about people with bad asthma or bad emphysema, bronchitis, when you get the wheezes? You have to be on the steroid medicines, right? So those things knock you down. They knock down your immune system. Okay, let's have the next one. So the thing is, in the end, we talk about getting the shingles vaccine tonight. You don't want to get the shingles. Probably one of the most painful conditions known to mankind. What's the number one condition that's painful to mankind? Number one. Really, you know. Labor. Have you not experienced that? Have you not? Labor is thought to be the most painful condition known to mankind. I didn't say to man. It could only be known to woman, but I said to mankind. What's the number two most painful condition? Gout. Gout. Very painful. And number three? Kidney stone. Kidney stone. So labor, gout, kidney stones, but the shingles is a little different. You know, if you want to be real nasty and you can give it to somebody you don't like, it's not a nice thing to have. The shingles. The worst is when it comes out on the face, usually in the forehead and around the eye. Sometimes it gets in the eye and in the nose. You can have it in the mouth. Now the thing is, these viruses are hanging out on either side of the spinal cord. And what usually happens is the right side will come out, or the left side. Usually the left and right don't come out simultaneously. So you'll notice when they have it on the face, it'll just be on one side of the face. And you'll see the forehead here, just a little overlap on the other side, but you can see it's really right down the line. Usually when it involves the eye and the tip of the nose, I have people rush to the eye doctor or the ophthalmologist. And these days they can do a pretty good job with keeping people at home and taking some eye drops to fight the virus. But usually it's said in the textbook that those folks have to be put in the hospital if it involves the eye, because you can lose your sight. It's not fun. But anyway, what will happen is people come in, call us up, and we'll tell them to come over, and they'll say, I've had this strange little sensation over here, a little pain, a little burniness, and we have them take off their shirt, t-shirt, whatever. Boom, there it is, the shingles. It's the shingles. No doubt about it. It's very easy to make a diagnosis. Now, you can have the shingles without the rash. You can have the shingles. It could be very painful. It can exist in the locations that we just talked about, and there's no rash. And the Latin term for that is non-sine, N-O-N-S-I-N-E, no sign. That's the Latin, no sign, non-sine, S-I-N-E. You can have that. It's rare, but you can have it. The thing is, you can have the shingles more than once. I know a man that had it 5 times. Because, remember, we said you have the virus for life. You don't get rid of the virus. It stays in your body along the spinal cord. It comes out, it goes back, it comes out, it goes back. So, we're going to get that. We're going to get there. She is the most intelligent person in this audience. A red rash with small blisters. So you do get the blisters, and then they crust. So it doesn't look like a pox rash, per se, like the kids get, chicken pox, but it's more blistery, kind of gets a little oozy and yucky looking sometimes. It does crust eventually. Yep, so the blisters eventually become dry and form a crust. Next. So this is about the shingles shot. But just to add, and there'll be a slide towards the end, these blisters are teeming with the virus. The blisters are teeming with the virus. Now, if this man had the chicken pox when he was a child, and this woman gets the shingles, she has the blisters, if he were to hug her and touch the blisters with the hug, let's say it was a warm night, didn't have to wear so many clothes, and that happened, he would not get the shingles. Although if one of your blisters were to ooze and the virus get on his skin, he would not get the shingles because he already had the chicken pox as a child. The chicken pox is not, the shingles is not contagious, therefore, from another person as an adult. It's the chicken pox virus that's already in your body that comes back out is what causes the shingles. You have to think about it, but that's how it is. So, the shingles vaccine is called the Zostavax from Zoster. Remember herpes zoster, varicella zoster? So the name of the vaccine is the Zostavax, like Pneumovax is for the pneumonia shot. And it boosts your immune system, that those antibodies are produced, and it's thought to reduce the risk, there's the answer for you, by 51%. So roll your dice, go down to Atlantic City, they're back open. I was just in Las Vegas in August. I'm going to Atlantic City in 2 weeks. I'm glad they're open. Reduce your risk by 51%. So it's not 100%, but if, it's covered by insurance and said to be for people beginning at age 60. So I am not there yet. I have a few more years to go. But on my birthday, I'm going to run and get this shot. I'll be the first in line. Remember we talked about don't make excuses not to get the shots. Try to get them. Again, that's where it is. The CDC, beginning at 60, you can get the shot. Although we know that people in their 40s and 20s can get the shingles. People in my family, right? Can't get the shot until you're 60.
You can't get it?
Well, if you get it on the black market. Next slide. Now, who should not get it? Somebody that has active tuberculosis or problems with the immune system. Those people with cancer getting chemotherapy, right? The lymphomas, leukemia people, people with bone marrow transplants, et cetera, bone marrow problems, people with the AIDS virus infection and the medicines that suppress the immune system. You only, right now, it's recommended to get it once at age 60 or older, not below, unless you get it on the black market. I think you have connections. You're wearing a black jacket. Next slide. Okay, so why don't you want to get the shingles? Because you get that post-herpetic neuralgia, that severe pain, okay, because it's coming out spinal cord down that nerve to the face or over here or down your arm, under the breast for women. Some people get it just around their fanny bone, and the nerves are extremely inflamed. They get very upset, and it can last forever. The discomfort can last forever. And it's a neuralgic pain, neuritis. When a nerve is inflamed, the medical term is called neuritis. Neuropathy, people familiar with the word neuropathy. But when you have the shingles, you have a neuritis. Your nerves are terribly inflamed. They're very upset. They're throbbing. You have lancinating pain. You feel like there's heat there, like electric shock waves are going down. And that's the sensations that we have. And you can have that forever. Now, these blisters that we talked about before, when they kind of ooze, if you don't take care of them properly, you can get the infection. You can get the impetigo, right? Impetigo is the infection of the skin by the strep impetigo. Like I said, if it gets in the eye, you can get blindness. And the nerves on the face, if it's involved with other parts of the face, you can get it in the ear. It was a person that had the shingles in the ear. No rash, because you can't, way deep in there. That's where it was. And a terrible earache. Extremely horrible earache. And it was the shingles of the auditory nerve. You can get it in the mouth. Okay, what's next? Do we have any more? So again, you can't catch the shingles or spread it to another person, an adult, that's already had the chicken pox. But if you're a pregnant woman, that live virus, that could go through the placental circulation and infect the fetus, the baby. We don't want that. So people with active blisters, because I said that blisters are teeming with the virus in the liquid of the blisters, you don't want to give it to the baby, mother. Newborns, because their immune system isn't developed yet, they're young. They haven't seen germs yet, hopefully. Now, the thing is, if there's an adult who's not been immunized and has not had the chicken pox in childhood, can get the chicken pox as an adult. And I've had 2 patients in my career that were both young ladies in their 20s. They got the chicken pox for the first time. Both of them were dead within 2 weeks. Because chicken pox in an adult, a young adult, like these 20-some-odd-year-old ladies, you get the chicken pox pneumonia. It goes into the lung. And neither one of these ladies survived the chicken pox pneumonia. So, and then we talked about, people like with the bone marrow transplant and all that, when you visit them, you have to wear the masks and the gowns, and they're essentially living in like a quarantine system. Who's that one on ABC, Robin Roberts? She just had the bone marrow. So somebody like her, until she's really back in the running. I don't know, do we have any others? Click it. That's it? There we go. Any questions? Yeah. Oh, okay. The pharmacy, so whatever pharmacy you're going to get it from. Yeah. Oh, but wait, good. The thing is, the vaccine is has the chickenpox virus. So when you get the needle that the nurse is going to give you, or the pharmacist, it's loaded with chickenpox virus. That's what they give you in the vaccine, the actual chickenpox virus. So that's what you get, a shot of the actual live chickenpox virus. And it has to be kept frozen. And then what happens is, before it became more readily available, I would give somebody a prescription. They would run to their local drugstore. First, we'd call them to make sure they had it in stock, because it has to be frozen. And then they'd have to take a 6-pack cooler, put that in the 6-pack cooler in their car, and drive it back to our office. And then the nurse would reconstitute the vaccine, which meant you get this frozen vial, and you get some liquid that the nurse pulls into the needle and then sucks up the chickenpox virus from the other viral and kind of mixes it a little bit before you stick it. It's called reconstitution. But that's what happens. So once you bring the prescription to your druggist, he's going to look up your insurance coverage. Most people aren't paying more than 10, 20, or nothing anymore. It used to be a little bit tough to get, but all the insurance companies have opened it up pretty good. Medicare Part D and others is what we're looking at, you know.
I had chicken pox when I was 30.
Yep, 30
I had the worst case.
for the first time, not younger. The actual initial chicken pox. And you found it to be a rough deal, right?
It was very bad.
Well, that's why I said my 2 ladies in their 20s. So here's a lady that echoed exactly what I said. When an adult gets the chicken pox for the very first time, they're not 5 or 6 years old in 1st or 2nd grade. you may not survive. You get that chickenpox pneumonia, forget about it. You get chickenpox meningitis. You know, these are the things you can get. All right, some more. What other question? Yes?
What activates the virus? I mean,
You mean you have it in your body and what?
Yes.
Yeah, there's something about your immune system that's not on guard for whatever reason at that moment, and then the virus can come out. So as long as your immune system is constantly in check, pushing that thing down, keeping it in check, keeping it in hibernation, you're not going to get the shingles. But as soon as your immune system goes to sleep for whatever reason, it could come out like that. That's why, you know, you watch Dr. Oz. That's why they talk about healthy lifestyle, right? You want to eat good. You know, I have all my people take vitamins. I believe in vitamins, like, you know, a Centrum Silver kind of thing for folks like you. All my people on a Centrum Silver. Everybody's doing their calcium and vitamin D, and we make sure they have enough fiber in their diet. We ask them what they eat, what kind of exercise they do. I mean, it's just all healthy living. Kind of stuff Dr. Oz has on his TV program, right? Because you don't want to get these things. You want to stay well. You don't want to get cancer. You don't want to get these infections. You want to keep your immune system healthy with or without these vaccinations. They think that cancer occurs because your immune system has issues. These natural killer cells that I spoke about before, which is one of the, what they call the innate immune system, that you're just born with it. You just, in utero, your thymus gland over here by your thyroid is making these cells, these natural killer cells. And it's thought that people can have cancer cells throughout their lifetime, but these natural killer cells come by and gobble them up. Don't let them take over. There's a really, you know, very plausible information about that anymore. So you wanna do these healthy lifestyle things. Get rid of the cigarettes and the pipes and the cigars, and don't drink too much gin and brandy. Don't be a wino. You have more than 2 glasses a day, you're a wino. What other questions? Yeah.
I have no proof that I've never had chickenpox, that I've never had them.
It's-
But my
it-
children have all had them, and
Yeah. So, like, there's a certain year of birth. I think it's up, you know, into the 40s and 1950s, where it's assumed healthcare professionals have to assume the person had chickenpox. Yeah. Unless you could swear you never did, people in your age group are assumed to have had chickenpox. Yeah, so that's an excellent question. Yep.
You can have them in your, you can get them in your head too.
On your scalp? Yeah. Anywhere on the
That's what
anywhere on the skin. It's a skin rash, but I mean, you can get it in the mouth and the eye, but you can,
no, they didn't have it out of the skin, they stayed in.
right. So you can have the shingles without the rash. Not good. Yes.
if you have the shingles, do you need to get the vaccine?
Yes, because remember I had a guy that had it 5 times. You could get it repetitively. So you should. Yes.
It was strange that you were speaking tonight because I went to my doctor this morning, my checkup, and we talked about this. And she suggested that I call my insurance to see what coverage they would come up with.
Yep.
When we first talked about it, I knew it was over $200. to
Yep.
get the shot.
Cash.
And Medicare does not cover it, the regular Medicare.
Part D. You need the Part D.
Right. But your supplementary insurances usually will pick it up.
Mhm.
Mine happened to be Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medics.
Mhm, mhm.
So I've been in contact with them today. And they said there's two ways. If you have it at your doctor's office,
Mhm.
you call them and get a claim form.
Yep.
You have to pay for it initially,
Mm.
but you will get back your money in a few weeks.
Mm.
Um, with just co-pay deductible. Then the other way is if you went to CVS or Walgreens,
Mhm.
then you don't have to pay for it, you just pay the co-pay.
That's right.
And each insurance,
Yep.
they have a different
That's
co-pay,
right.
they told me,
Yep.
from $20 up to $100.
Beautiful.
So my specific one
Mm.
was $20 co-pay.
Yeah.
I called CVS,
Mhm.
they don't have it.
In stock.
They said they're not.
Yeah,
they don't
Walgreens,
have it.
Walgreens been tending to have it.
Yeah, Walgreens I called.
I think the
and
Rite
they-
Aid in Ipswich had it once that I heard from somebody.
Raleigh Pharmacy will get it for you too.
Yeah, what,
Raleigh Pharmacy will get it for you too.
will they give it to?
She gives it at her place.
I do. She said, Billy calls, says it's in, and brings it down.
Oh, okay, see, I didn't realize that.
Mhm.
They didn't mention,
Yeah.
private pharmacies, they just gave me those.
Uh-huh, no, that's good. No, the more pharmacies that people can mention to others, the better.
Mm,
Yeah, so most of our folks, we just say go to a Walgreens.
Well,
But, my folks don't come to Raleigh. So I wouldn't mention the Raleigh Pharmacy.
no,
We're in Danvers, Beverly, Peabody.
right.
We hang out down there.
Well, this.
Like the
my
Walgreens on
information
114
is
and-
really just for Raleigh.
Yeah.
My mother had the shingles at 98. And she said she...
At age 98?
At age 98. Wow.
Okay.
She's 102.
For the
She
first
died
time?
this year.
Mhm.
For the first time.
Yeah.
And she said to her knowledge, she did not have chickenpox.
Yeah, but it's impossible not to have had it. Because an adult cannot get the shingles unless they already had chickenpox. So you had chickenpox and survived it, so you now can have shingles. Got it? See how it works? All right. I'm not wishing it on you, but you can get it, right? Better get the shot. Get the Zostavax. Yes.
Something not to do with that at all, but I got the mumps at an older age.
Hmm?
You say I never had one.
You never had it as a kid? Because you can get it again.
And then,
You can get it
I
again.
get the mumps again?
Yeah, you could. It's not, none of these things are very likely, but you probably could.
My face is way over there.
Yeah.
And I,
What do they call it, chipmunks?
yeah, I thought it was because I enjoyed the gym. And I was doing the back pull down on the weights. There was a little coil of wire that was stuck into the back of the gym. It was frayed, so I thought maybe that hit somebody that had the disease and got into me. I don't know if that would that have caused something?
No, I don't think so.
That's the only thing I
Good,
thought.
good hypothesis.
Where I could have gotten it from.
But it's not good for a man to get the mumps because it could affect your manly parts.
Oh, gee.
That's not, and it could affect fertility in a man after that, if that happens. If that happens. That's why when an adolescent gets the mumps, if it's a boy, you gotta watch out for that stuff. Because if he gets married, he wants to have kids. All right, so anything else about any other vaccines? Yes,
When you said it is in the spinal cord,
around the near the spinal, it hangs out near the spinal cord.
does it depend on which spinal nerve as to where that herpes is going to go in your body? Which one releases?
Yeah, that's right. You got it.
Just, no, it was just a question.
Yep, you got it.
So that's how it goes to different spots.
Yeah,
Whichever one
usually the
releases.
left or the right, rare concurrently, both sides.
And then it'll
I've seen it, but it's rare. It's more usually get something on the right or something on the left. Usually rare to have both left and right concurrently. But you can have up here on the right and down here on the left.
Two different ones.
It's rare to be matching, symmetric they call it. Yeah.
But, so those are different ones.
But that's the idea behind that Latin derivation of shingles. You know, it's like a patch that you're wearing over you. Don't get it. As soon as I'm 60, first in line, I'll have her give it to me. She's a nurse. And there's 2 needles. You could either do the buffalo needle or the elephant-sized needle. Don't get that new porcupine flu shot needle. I got that. That thing on TV with the porcupine, I would not recommend that. Get the old-fashioned, or in fact, people your age, you cannot get the porcupine needle your age. You have to get the old-fashioned elephant or water buffalo needle. Thank you. That's great. Have a good day.